question.
So what even makes up these families? Those are the questions we're asking. And for the lawmakers that want to collect 70 billion, let the poor breathe. Fear God. Fear God.
Absolutely.
Let the poor breathe. People are crying, and you even have the temerity, the effrontery, the unmitigated nerve to even put your own money in this while poor people are suffering.
All right, guys, Rufai has come out to give enough water for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is planning to borrow $800 million for palliatives because of subsidy removal. He said that he is going to give every poor family in Nigeria 8,000 for 6 months. Where is the remaining balance going? This is the question Nigerians are asking.
Yeah, so what's going to happen? Now we have $800 million from the World Bank, and then additional 500 billion for palliatives. Where do we go from here, Rufai?
If you ask me now, I'll go ask you. Let's go straight to it.
Yes.
A couple of palliatives have been announced. I just hope this is not fraught in corruption.
This is the question.
Because when you even look at it, let's even go back. That's why the need for data is important. And that's why I will have favored that we had done the census even before the election, before we started with this government. Because you need data to plan. They keep saying 60 million households. How? How did you get 60 million households?
I tried to do that calculation as well.
If you say if our population is 220 million, divided by 5 per household, how many do you get? That's about 55 million households. So, but that data is still suspect. So based on my television data, because this is my forte in media, I know when we benchmark television watching households in Nigeria, there are 30 million television households. So if you get a sizable number, if you get like 9 million households watch your show, you get a sizable number. So how do they even benchmark the data in the first place? Also look at the money the lawmakers are going to get. I tried calculating it. If they are to share that 70 billion naira equally amongst all of them, we have collectively about 472, across both houses. Let's round it up to 500. 500 divided by 70 billion. That's going to give us 140 million for each lawmakers. So 500 people, if they're to share it equally, can receive 140 million. I know they're not going to share it equally. But look at the citizens. 12 million households receive 48,000 across 6 months. So look at the disparity. So the other monies put out there, I support the one for the 35 billion for National Judicial Council. I support that one. The 10 billion for Federal Capital Territory, yes, I'm happy about that because I was in Abuja over the weekend, and guess what? Most of the street lights from the airport were not working down into Abuja town. So maybe they need to do a lot of work as regards that and internally, because that's our country's capital. The 19.2 billion for Ministry of Agriculture to address massive destruction of farmlands, I support that to do to follow. But how are they going to spend that money? How is it going to trickle down to the basic farmers? Then the 500 billion for the palliatives. This time around, they are saying that they're going to use wallets. They've always talked about wallets in the past, like sent by wallets. But how can we effectively authenticate the amount and how much is really going to all of these farmers out there? Personally, I've never been in support of these handouts because they're getting muddled up in Nigeria. I tried doing something on social media, and you might argue that it's not empirical enough. I've asked that people that receive the money, can they come out? But we hardly see most of them. In fact, the office in charge of disposing this national, register, they sent me a message back on Twitter and say, oh, Rufai, there are lots of them, most of them might not be on Twitter. Can we even see some members of these families are receiving this money? Because the last thing we heard was during COVID, where the humanitarian minister was sharing money for people in their hands. And you can't be accountable that way. So at first, I can't wait for the census to even start. Let's even have data to work with. There are not enough data sets to work with.
Question.
So what even makes up these families? Those are the questions we're asking. And for the lawmakers that want to collect 70 billion, let the poor breathe. Fear God. Fear God.
Absolutely.
Let the poor breathe. People are crying, and you even have the temerity, the effrontery, the unmitigated nerve to even put your own money in this while poor people are suffering.
All right.
I yield the floor.
Well, all right. In another development, the approval by the National Assembly. Let me just take one tweet from Nefertiti, who wrote, Tinubu is seeking supplementary budget spending of 819 billion from the National Assembly, while your overfed reps will receive 70 billion as their own palliative. 8,000 naira only will go to Ronu families for 6 months. That's a meager 48,000 naira to beggars. Are you not entertained? Well, let me just give you that breakdown, Rufai, again. If we can pull up that breakdown, it says 500 billion naira for palliatives, 70 billion naira to National Assembly to support the working conditions of new members, 19.2 billion naira for Ministry of Agriculture to address massive destruction to farmlands due to flooding 2022, 35 billion to National Judicial Council, 10 billion to Federal Capital Territory Administration for critical project. I guess that the whole idea everyone is like talking about is that 70 billion as well. But also we saw that the National Assembly had approved this whole, yesterday we talked about this supplementary budget for infrastructure, for these other ideas. So what's going to happen? Now we have $800 million from the World Bank and then additional 500 billion for palliatives. Where do we go from here?
I said earlier that the taste of the pudding is in the eating. And if you say you are targeting 60 million households, who is going to track that?
That is the question.
And we are over 200 million. We're told, we don't even know how many we are, by the way. And we are told that the population of poor people in this country within the next year will increase by 7.1 million. So what is happening to that social register? Is that social register going to accommodate more people? And we're talking about money here. I've made a point that what the National Assembly has done is to take ownership on behalf of all of us. We are the ones that have endorsed that loan from the World Bank. And then there's another loan from the IMF, which we are also going to endorse, I guess. And then there is a 500 billion naira that the Tinubu administration has asked the House of Reps to approve, which they approved. The speed with which this National Assembly is moving with approvals of requests from the president, I hope it will be a National Assembly that can think. Let it not be that they are just there. Anything that comes, you know, they just look at it and they say, we have approved. They received a letter from the president in the morning. They have approved it before people went for lunch. They didn't even take their time to study, to debate.
This is the question.
This is the big problem that we have. And I hope that this will not be a trend whereby the National Assembly will become a department in the executive arm of government. Those are the fears that we have.
Right.
As to the president meeting with APC women, very good. The president in his agenda, in his campaign material, says yes, there will be inclusion and that women will be accommodated. And we would like to see that in real terms. APC women and the president can be triumphant. But it needs to go a step further. I see they are all wearing ashwebi. I hope one of the things that the president can do as leader of the APC going forward is to abolish the women wing of the APC. Women should not belong to any wing where they are known for ashwebi. Have you seen APC men or PDP men wearing